Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk about personalized learning as one of the areas that need more attention in teacher preparation programs. So I chose to go in depth on this topic of personalized learning because for years I've thought that personalized learning should be taught more within all levels of school. So what is personalized learning? I wanted to give an actual definition of what we can search this topic as, and personalized learning, according to the TeachThought website, is a learning experience designed for each student with their specific needs in mind. And this definition just means that we're not all some sort of robots that all learn, act, and think the same. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and being able to focus learning on each different individual to how they learn best is such a smart way of teaching. I found this really great picture that says great minds don't think or learn alike. And I know growing up, my mom always said two great minds think alike. But as I got older, I realized that two great minds don't think alike. They think creatively and individually of one another. If everyone thought alike, what individual diversity would we have? The thing is that we wouldn't. It's so important to think for yourself. And for others around you, their different ideas need to be respected because how you may perceive one thing, someone else can see it in a completely different way. Now, standardized learning and testing have almost always been a thing. Back in high school and still now, I was absolutely terrible at standardized tests. I mean, I could not even hit the average score of what the class would have. I was in all honors classes, which I thought said something, but when it came to standardized tests, they always threw me for a loop. And it didn't matter though, because it wasn't really a thing yet for people to really care about taking a test that was made for you personally. It was all just kind of almost like a one size fits all. This test is good for everybody and will show how much everybody knows accurately. And we're all kind of taught that, well, if everyone else can do it, so can you. Personalized learning at my high school was definitely not a thing. You did the same activities as everyone else, got asked the same questions, and expected to answer questions the same. And in 2009, Pickett found that some people think personalized learning is not the way schooling should be held because it denotates the modern notation of education, meaning that the culture of learning should stay the same. And others were all for it, saying that standardized education denotates personal differences and they oppose national testing. We all have to realize that no matter the topic, not everyone in society is going to agree on the same thing. There's always going to be ones who don't want to evolve and do what's best for others, and who have the mindset of, well, I had to do that when I was in school, so why shouldn't the newer generations have to too? Our ways of conforming education has started to change over the years, which is great, and the positive experiences and improvements, those need to be spread in order to have other schools want to switch to personalized learning. In our society and culture, we're told that failure is a bad thing. You know, that we're supposed to get A's and B's to be considered smart. Well, if you think about it, failure shouldn't be held as a bad thing, and failure shouldn't be feared. Failing should be looked at as a way of helping you improve and getting on the right path towards succeeding as long as you're putting in the effort. Another thing that's important is the culture within personalized learning. The cultures that are brought in by students need to be respected because school is basically a melting pot. Everyone's bringing in their own cultures, how they grew up, and personalized learning should be learning to respect the culture of one another. And here's just a picture of basically the world's a melting pot, and all types of those people come to one school and they come together, and we all need to be respectful of what everyone has to bring to the table. So now we're going to talk about personalized learning within education. And personalized learning is extremely important in education because your education experience helps shape you as you're growing up. Personalized learning advocates positive interactions between students and their peers, or students and their teachers. Students are more willing to learn in this type of environment of being helped on an individual level rather than all sitting in the classroom listening to a lecture that, half is going to understand what's going on and half is going to be completely lost. We should envision a school that that's a place where we're welcomed and excited to learn and be around others instead of a stereotypical cold place with dreary hallways, learning the boring material day after day. We want a place where nobody's opinions or thoughts is wrong and where failure isn't a thing. And newer research has shown that there have been improvements of grades from schools that actually use personalized learning in the classroom. Personalized learning seems to thrive more in classrooms that use technology, and the use of this technology really lets students easily access online materials and resources as well as learning activities. And using technology can really encourage students to be more engaging with one another and boost personal relationships. Like I've previously touched on, having a positive environment and knowing that you have help and support all around you can really boost one's confidence and self-esteem and have them actually excited to learn. One elementary school has personalized learning where the students are put into different groups based on the material that they need to improve on. And being put into groups has it to where you're not singled out or alone when learning. It doesn't make you feel less than other people, and you still have friends and peers that are needing help with the same kind of material that you're struggling with too, which helps again build relationships and a more positive outlook on schools and education. The next thing I wanted to touch on is how personalized learning is fitting in with the ISTE standards of teachers and students, and I wanted to start off with the teachers one first. So looking at the ISTE standards of teachers, personalized learning really hits home with each and every standard. As a teacher, your goal should be wanting to make your students feel comfortable and confident when getting an education. And not only that, but creating different ways to teach subjects to where it's not standardized, expecting each student to learn the same way. You may need to come up with a few different activities for one subject in order to grab everyone's attention and make sure that they all understand the material. But being a teacher is also having their back, and you're really their parent away from home, and they're always going to look up to you. So personalized learning is learning by your measures and making sure that you personally learn the material in a way that your brain can comprehend it. So teachers are actually the superheroes of learning, putting all this together, making it happen for students, making them learn in a way that's best for them, and which really helps us grow and shape into adults. For the ISTE standards of students, personalized learning also really falls into every standard, and students are encouraged to be creative and generate new ideas and work in groups with others and collaborating in a personalized learning environment. And this is really important because being able to express your own ideas and opinions while working with others is super important in also bouncing back on ideas when giving your own. Collaborating with other students or peers that have the same learning types as you can really help you build relationships and open your mind to new ways of learning ideas. And like I said before, let me scroll down so you can see the rest of them. Like I said before, personalized learning is said to benefit more with technology, and when using technology in school for personalized learning, or honestly any learning, it's important that you're being safe and legal on the websites that you're meant to be using. Students get excited when being able to use technology when learning, especially when they're able to use different sites that can help them learn in a way that needs to be taught in order for them to understand the information and content. When moving into personalized learning, it's obvious that teachers are going to need to change the way that they teach. And there's no more one-size-fits-all type deal. It's honestly going to require more time and planning with all of the different ways and ideas that you can use for teaching. It may be a hands-on activity or an online lecture video with more visuals rather than listening to a lecture. Or in younger schools, instead of everyone sitting down together doing the same thing or listening to the same book, they can be broken up into groups, and students who need help on math can be all put together and work on a math worksheet, and and kids who need help with reading can all sit in a circle and try to read to each other. But it's broken down into smaller groups to where they don't feel so, um, you know, they're making more friends being put into smaller groups instead of having to read in front of everyone and almost sometimes getting embarrassed. And I know that none of us are in kindergarten, but this is actually where it should start. It should start right at the beginning, where personalized learning is a normal thing in education, and kids get to start learning right off the bat with it. Teachers and students should have individual one-on-one time, sometimes throughout the day, or the teacher could be accessible for the students if needed. And as a kid, I know I was always scared asking questions in front of students because I didn't want to seem dumb or in the spotlight. And with personalized learning, and getting individual time, it makes the student feel more comfortable asking questions that they normally wouldn't ask in front of classmates. So for teachers, it might be, a lot of work at first, coming up with new lesson plans and different ways of testing and engaging the students, but I can assure you that it'll be effective to not only the students, but also the teachers themselves. And I have this little picture, one size fits all, when it really doesn't. So, now previously that I know I've said this previously, but learning, with being, but, student learning is positively affected by personalized learning. Better thinking and understanding, building relationships with ones who think the same as you, making them feel more confident in school and education. The list goes on with the pros of personal learning. And it's not just a topic of interest, it's what students really need in order to succeed. Just because you make bad on a test grade does not mean you don't know the material. I'm actually in a class right now where I know the material front and back, but still make B's and C's on the test just because the questions are worded confusing, and they're not straightforward. People in my class make perfect scores on the test, but that doesn't really mean that they know more than me on the material. I've struggled so much with this class, and I went and talked to him, and his actual response to me saying that I don't understand his questions because they're confusing to me is, well, you need to train your brain to think like that. Obviously, my confidence was shot, and I took that class last year, dropped it, and I'm actually retaking it right now. We're not robots. We're not given different abilities, or we were given different abilities for a purpose, and we're not supposed to trash them to be able to think like everyone else. It's really important to teach and encourage students to be themselves and think in their own unique way. I have these two little clips. So I'm a senior studying wildlife and fisheries biology, and throughout my mandatory classes for my major, there's not a ton of them that integrate personalized learning, in a sense of learning in learning new material, different ways for that. Some professors allow you to have open-ended questions, that allow you to give your own opinion on an answer as long as you can back it up, which I really enjoy since there are always different ways to think about an answer to a question. Also, when it's time to write papers or come up with research projects, my professors are very open on letting us choose our own topics and our own ideas as long as we have a way to make it make sense and have research back it up. And as most of you know, I'm hoping to attend graduate school next fall, and I hope that there will be some personalized learning along with the research. Some professors or researchers allow you to choose your own study to conduct and they let you choose the way you want to sample during the experiment, and others already have an ongoing study that want your help to continue it, so that'll allow for less personalized learning. And I think it all really just depends on what or who you work with and what you're wanting to research, based in my field of study personally. So after this video, I will have linked the 4 articles I would like for you to read and a video to watch. I really hope this kind of gathered personalized learning better for you all.